So
okay, so there is a name that scientists and doctors and what do you call it? People who are into plants call it. And basically, it said normally the plant is supposed to take the energy that it gets from the minerals from below and transmit it evenly. Evenly. So one of the things you have to understand is us above, so below. So when you see half is yellow and half is green, that tells me that half, the root system down there, are having a problem. That root system corresponds with the upper part are having a problem. That means something is killing that part. Maybe toxic somehow. Something happened there. Whether it's like a chemical got dumped there, all kinds of things happen there, right? It could be any number of things.
I do have one question, Andy, because I look at my rose bushes are just starting, and so half is green, half is yellow still. Do holly bushes have that same effect where they wake up in the spring and the chlorophyll is slowly coming and moving up into the branches? I don't know anything really about holly.
To me, that means that it could be see, when that happens, basically the system is not really working right. So some part of the body is working fine, but the other part is not working right yet. And it usually always relates to something going on in the soil, because it's not normal for it to be half of this way and half that way. That tells me physically something's going on in this part of your soil. And if you were to be able to slice it and look, you'll see, oh, that's what's going on over there. So something's affecting that part of the root system. And eventually, sometimes the biology will spread up, will cover itself. So if you have a good property with lots of biology, it will migrate over there and fix the problem. Somebody shut down the system over here and they will fix this up. But if it doesn't have the biology, it may never get over to that part of the tree, whereas this side might be something very radically different. Usually it has something to do with carbon. Carbon is not evenly spread everywhere. And so some places may have more carbon than other places. And normally the plant will give it to the whole body, but then it shows. Because if the root's not working right on that side, it will show. That's the main issue that you have to figure out. That's why when you do something, like when people do a drip system, they only put a drip on one side of the plant. Or they tend to, they do something on that side and they totally ignore the other half. And so it shows up there, because the root system eventually will start to decompose, and it'll be there. It's just be like a root, it'll be like nothing, right? And so if you that's why when I do so I've been teaching people Ola, OLLA. We talked about it last time. And don't put one Ola just on one side. You want to do it like the clock. Hi everybody, who's grumpy?
Grumpy is grumpy.
Oh, that's Grumpy. Hi, Grumpy. Smile, buddy. So an Ola has to be done at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. You do not want to just do it on one side or one section, because the rest of it is not going to get it. You're lucky. If you have a very good, active living organism in your soil, it will tend to spread itself out. Yeah, the better, more biology you have, the easier it will tend to go around. But usually, so it doesn't really do that, because some parts of it are deader than others for so many different reasons, right? You have to sort of look at it, what's going on. So when I do foliar spraying, to me the key is to not only do the leaves, but do evenly. So if you only do half a trunk, and the other half doesn't get it, and you'll see it next time you come around. Look, this part is doing really well.
You spray underneath the leaves as well, Andy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. I spray on top and make sure they all get on the bottom, because they absorb differently. They're different. Even though the same organisms I'm spraying, it works well on top and works on the bottom. There's a different, because you figure it out that leaves on top, the sun gets them. So they work differently than the leaves underneath them. You see, right? So it's a slightly different setup. And same thing with all plants, that they're key to the sun. There's also a different factory going underneath the leaves.
Well, for most people that don't understand, your plants actually breathe in and out just like we do. It's on the bottom side of the leaf. It's called the stomata. And that's where in an indoor grow, you want to keep your vapor pressure deficit, your moisture to your heat ratio, so that your plant can actually breathe. Just like if we go into a sauna, it's really harder for us to breathe. And it's the same with our plants. So most of the carbon that is used by your plant is actually coming through the breathing from the carbon monoxide that the plant breathes in. It takes the carbon molecules, and that's where most of the carbon comes from for your plant cells, for your plant to grow. That's one of the reasons that a lot of indoor growers have tanks of CO2 to keep that CO2 at a higher ratio so their plants get that excess carbon.
The carbon, it's very interesting because the biology takes carbon and turns it to carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is what they use to break down the minerals and turn it into a form that the plant can use. And now the plant is not fed by a needle. The plant is fed by the root hairs on the plant. A different type of biology live on those root hairs. So they'll take this carbonic acid that the biology has broken down into the minerals, and because they're specialized, they can't go up to a plant and say, "Here, take this." They have to go up to the plant and talk to the other biology. It's for you, and that biology will automatically have a way of putting it into the plant. You see what I mean, right?
Yeah. Well, that's your exudates.
Oh yeah, what's
People
the next?
talk about exudates.